most people who came to see the play, the live performance in Spain, where people already engaged somehow in the Spanish collective remembrance process. So people who have a relationship to the exhumations, who have attended an exhumations, or people who are working at a university or activists of memory. It's very important for Unrest Project also to know about the memory process from the bottom-up perspective and not just top-down perspective. We are mainly interested in interviewing activists, policymakers and cultural heritage professionals. We also have some assumptions in that. In the project we think that probably activists will have a kind of more antagonistic mode of remembrance tendency. But I can say that during the interviewing process we have found out that perhaps this assumption is not as accurate as we thought. We studied audience responses to the play because one thing is the intentionality of a theatre performance, another thing is what people think about that, and what people think is unpredictable. So we are concerned about finding unsettling effects and transformations among spectators. We consider that all artistic practices have a potential for transformation. So we assume the transformative potential of art. So we expect that spectators experience a before and after attending the performance, that anybody will remain indifferent after the performance. So in order to be able to identify this change of assumptions, we set up interviews before the premiere in 2017 in Madrid and right after the premiere, to actually see if the spectators will change their mind in some aspects. Mainly, they will change their mind regarding the perpetrator's discourse. The performance indeed affects people's opinions. I can remember some stakeholders that were kind of annoyed about the perpetrator's discourse, the way it was elaborated. The so-called negative emotions like pain, disgust, anger have become really important for the project. And it was something we did not predict before starting the audience analysis. And actually, negative emotions are very important for art enjoyment and are also really memorable. We seem to remember more shame and anger and pain than positive emotions like hope, for example. I can remember this stakeholder in Spain. During the pre-show interview, I asked him to relate to actual Spanish perpetrators. So he found one of these as he described him as a nasty person who provoked him disgust. So it's a quite strong emotion. While in the post-show interview, when I asked him to relate to Zoran, the perpetrator of the play, the fictional perpetrator, he started by describing him as a monster, but he ended up the process of the interview by highlighting the importance of the circumstances and how evil is not in us, but depending on the circumstances, we may act in unforeseen ways. Working with artists for a researcher is very challenging, and I have to say there are artists like Miko Mikon who count with a large experience. They already have their assumptions and statements, and Miko Mikon, dealing with political art, they already have a message they want to transmit to people. So our work was mainly to exchange with them, to coach their process and exchange with them some reflections upon agonistic memory and trying to give some ideas, trying to inspire them. The process of exchanging ideas and inspiring the artists was quite fruitful for us. I'm not that sure as for the artists because, well, they were mainly beyond the exchanging ideas that sometimes they find it too academic, too theoretical. They were enjoying visiting the exhumations, and they've been exchanging a lot of information with social anthropologists in unrest, and they work in the exhumations actually. So they've been influenced from, they are artists, so they've been influenced more than through ideas or reflections, rather through images and experiences.